Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Motorsports. I am your host, The Big Ticket, here to talk to you about all things motorsports and motorsports-related content. There are two versions of the show. If you want to check out the audio version, head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you choose to listen. I'm available on all platforms. If you also want to check out the video version and see my pretty face, head on over to youtube.com/Tarig Waldron. That's TARIGWALDRON. Or just look up Let's Talk Motorsports in the search bar. There will be links in the description of the video version, and I will leave a link for the audio version as well. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at TheBigTicket07. And now, moving on to the show. With me today, after some technical difficulties, I got my main man, Mark, right here. He was the big homie, but not he little, but he back being big. What's up?
Yo, first of all, let's establish number one. Technical difficulties happen because of Tarig,
Yo.
Worst host.
Yo. This is my first. This is a solo podcast. I don't have guests on here. All right.
It's all right, yo. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking your show.
How you gonna take my show?
I'm taking your show.
All right.
Watch.
All right.
The day will come.
Okay.
But hold on. Yo, it's your boy Mark. How you doing? You too. My family. I love y'all. Look. This boy Tarig, man. This guy, yo, he know what he talking about, yo. This guy know what he talking about. I'm the big homie. Alright? We on the same level. We on the same feet. We on the same inches, but I'm disrespectful on this show, bro. Come on.
This guy. How was it being disrespectful? I said you was big, homie. Then you got little, but now you back big again.
I don't know that. My opinion was I got little.
There was a point in our friendship where I was like 4 inches ahead of you, bro. Now it's like 2.
We just big, like, pause, bro. Pause out, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not tall, you just a big guy, like. You know what I'm saying? The difference between tall and big. Different things, you know what I'm saying? You just big, you know?
So 6'3" is not tall. Okay, cool. Alright.
Your 6'3" is not like 6'3", you know what I'm saying?
Cause I'm not bony? Cause I'm not bony?
Damn! This guy's bony. This guy's bones. Like, you got bones? Alright, everybody got bones. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not skinny, alright? I'm not skinny. I'm well built. That's all it means. Anyway, after the technical difficulties, jumping into our first major topic of the show, talking about Fernando Alonso and his return to F1. Mark, who is Fernando? You know what I'm saying? What are his accomplishments in F1 and how does he plan on making this return and making his name great again?
Alright, well, for the second time, Fernando Alonso, my man is a motorsport race car driver. He is 39 years of age. He got 2 titles underneath his belt. My man is nice. He's upper class. You know what I'm saying? Upper echelon. He ain't a regular dude. He's not a regular man. That man's upper echelon. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, so that's pretty much the synopsis.
Alright, bet.
2005 and 2006, right? That was the titles.
Yeah.
But my fact, it's not just titles, it's world titles. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't just titles. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, Mark is just a title. You know what I'm saying? Just a title. Tarig is just a title, but he got a world title. Like, it's global. You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing, bro.
Alright. So, Fernando is a 32-time winner. Okay, in F1 altogether, and as you already stated, he's a 2-time world champion. All right. Now he is making his segue back into F1. Talk about the teams that he's with. Talk about whatever goals that he may have for the comeback, anything like that.
Okay, well, he's on the name
Renault. It's Renault.
Not the first time, but the technical difficulties. But however, yeah, my man, like, yo, the debate and the argument was going on now. Why we even have the show? Because the fact that there's a whole thing where you got, because of COVID, there is no time time for training. The only time for the only time for training is the day before the event. Like, excuse me? Like, hold on. Let's say like we're having a tournament in video games, right? Just video games. Forget like the fact that obviously I can die in a video game and come back, but this is a race car driver, so if you die, there's no restart button, by the way. It's like, it's a top shot. So I can spend one day playing a video game and I would not be nice. I would be mediocre trash. I'll be on that level.
Okay.
But this guy is gonna race a whole race car. You know what I'm saying? That's moving at a different speed than regular cars here, and gets the day before to train. Man, this is kind of unsafe, and then everybody's at disadvantage when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's unsafe, and it's like not even unsafe to the point where it's like somebody's gonna get hurt, but to the point where like you can't perform at your peak level it needs to be, especially for a race. You know what I'm saying? That takes a long period of time to train for and get ready for, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Muscle memory, all kind of stuff. So that's what's going on right now. So it's crazy.
Well, I know they try to do it with simulation and stuff like that. There's plenty of there's plenty of money, millions invested into simulations to where it feels damn near real.
There is a difference. Like, for example, there are many examples in real life. Like, for example, we can play virtual 2K basketball. You know what I'm saying? We can play 2K. However, we get on that court. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I've seen perfect moments of that.
Facts. My man, even though you're 6'3", but I got you in basketball. Let's not talk about it. We can talk about it.
Nah, we don't need to talk about it. I don't do sports. I drive. All right, meet me on the track, boy. Talking about.
I said the track. You talking about the railroad tracks?
Nah, I'm talking about the real race tracks.
I mean, you talking about the track and field. You know what I'm saying? I make a YouTube syndrome.
YouTube syndrome.
We can put it on camera. Nothing ain't no there. I'm not going into that.
I've actually raced, Mark.
What?
I've actually raced.
Oh, you talking about cars?
Yes, cars. I've done drag racing and I've done rally.
I thought we talking about like.
No.
But however, like, why is it different? Because you have in real racing, just by observation, there is the aspect of like how I put it, you actually can get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And there's the aspect of like just realism. That's what it goes into. When you're on like simulation, there is no necessarily consequence for mistakes. You understand? Versus when you're actually in the car and you're driving, there is a consequence for mistakes. So that aspect of muscle memory and circumstance is important to train for that a simulation cannot provide.
I feel you. I got you on that.
That's where I think the difference in it all. Simulation is cool. It's like it's something. It's just something. It's better than nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it's something. But it's not quite the same thing.
I feel you.
As actual, training. You know what I'm saying?
Real seat time is always the best seat time. I feel you.
Experience is the best teacher.
Shit, playing Dirt 4 don't mean nothing when you actually out there. I learned that shit the hard way. Oh man. Nah, it took like 6 months before I had any real incident. Anyway, moving on to yes, nigga, I was good. Moving on to Honda and their leave of F1. For the after the 2021 season, they have now decided that they are no longer going to participate in Formula One. Honestly, that's a big loss for everyone. Mark, how you feel? Talk about it. Hold up. Production Reek here, just giving y'all the update on what you're about to see next. Because I don't know how exactly we got into the fact of Formula One canceling the whole 2021 season. That would probably never happen. Unless some catastrophic changes were to occur. But I don't think that would ever happen. So I didn't catch it during, but I caught it after in editing, so this is the result of that. Sorry.
Hey, yo, I I told you before obviously, got on this, about like, I'm going to compare it to the NBA, because the NBA is more so my strong suit, you know what I'm saying? That's where I play basketball, I play past tense. Basketball, you know what I'm saying? So I have experience in that. So this season, the Lakers and the Clippers were deciding to opt out of the season, of the bubble, in a sense, right? But they decided to play. My prediction was, if they did not play, and we did opt out, and they did not play at all, the season would have been canceled. Or at least, if it was not canceled, many would not tune in or count it as a real championship, whoever won. Because, however, the two most popular teams, in order the favorites to win the championship, were not even in the league in the first place, then nobody would have counted it in the first place. So, in a sense of, if you look at it like this, Honda, what is Lakers for the NBA, Honda is for the motorsport.
Okay.
So
they more like the Clippers, but okay.
Damn. But anyways, damn, I like that. So the thing is, should Red Bull cancel? You know what I'm saying? Should the F1 be terminated for the 2021 season because of Honda? My thing, even though I equated it to that, my thing is no. The reason why I say no is because of the fact that with COVID that's going on right now, everybody's at home, and it's like a depressing mood out in the air. Obviously, you can see the skies and everything looks like it's normal, but it's something in the air that's just depressing about it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's at home, everybody's in the crib university. I'm in the crib university. You see my school right now? This is my class. So I was at. So likewise, we at the crib university. So being that we're all at the crib right now, the last thing we need is our sports and our entertainment being canceled. Right? So the best thing in my opinion, for the F1 and for what Red Bull's going to do is to keep it up, you know what I'm saying? Keep it running, regardless of Honda not being there. But Honda not being there, remember, it's not because of, again, the COVID and anything like that. Honda, what they're doing is they're taking their investments, their time, because like I said before, like they weren't there for a long time, they weren't there for a good time. So whatever title they did, you know what I'm saying? They were not there taking that, we're gonna be here longevity. So they took their money, their investments, and they're putting it into fuel cell and battery operating vehicles to further technology. Because what they got now, you know what I'm saying, is not up to date on what they need to be. So their mindset is like, okay, if we're going to showcase, because a lot of people even invest in the motorsport industry, because to showcase what they got and to test technology. So if they cannot invest in the technology they're looking for, why even participate in the motorsport? You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I mean,
they said, okay, we're gonna take a break. I'm not sure they're coming back. I mean, I'm obviously I'm hoping they're gonna come back eventually, but that's another conversation. But still, I'm hoping that when they do come back, they'll have what they need to be, and if they are where they need to be during that time they do come back, then let's hope they're here for a long time and not just a good time. You know what I'm saying? They're not just here for the one night. You know what I'm saying? Just, after the club, you know what I'm saying? They say, just, hey, how you doing? A lot of things. They've done their thing. They got out the bed, they left the coffee there, and they walked out the door, and they said, all right, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Let's hope next time they get married. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I feel. I understand what you're saying. It's just that metaphor was just out there, but I like it.
Let's not talk about it, Tarig. I know it's hitting something for you right now. I know it's hitting a nerve right now. What? You can relate. You know what I'm saying? You can relate. Let's not talk about it, Tarig.
All right, man. So, now I just want to have some thoughts on Formula One altogether. Why do companies invest so much money into Formula One, and why do so many companies invest into motorsports altogether? With all these manufacturers, how can Formula One necessarily limit how many manufacturers actually participate, and why would they do that also? Yeah, I threw in some new shit.
See, I told this guy is old. I told this guy's weird, bro. But I'm taking your show, so I'm answering the question. So, what I said before was about how the reason why people invest into the motorsport industry is to showcase what they have for consumers, right? And also is to test the technology in which they're using at the time, right? Their latest technology, how to test it, because you can't test it out in the streets where people, like, you know what I'm saying, regular people out there, you know what I'm saying? So what is that? Motorsport industry. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's for. You know, to balance who's able to come in and who's not, that's above my pay grade. I gotta tell you before. I don't know if you started off this conversation of like, look, I got into this last week. This is you know what I'm saying? So based upon my week of research, I think I'm doing pretty well.
Okay. So far, pretty good, yeah, so far.
Advanced level 2 question on me, that's just wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? I see you trying to do that's matter of fact, I see you trying to do. You're threatening that I'm gonna take your show, so you're gonna throw something that I can't answer, so that you're gonna pick up an answer to make us look smarter than me.
You realize I have a whole nother like hour worth of stuff outside of you, right?
Yeah, look,
I'm just saying.
Look, just this little time, the viewers, they're feeling this. I feel what they're feeling right now. This is entertaining. After I leave, it's like, you know, this guy's just talking, yo. Why did you guys?
I'm not gonna lie, that's probably the case. But it's alright. I'm gonna bring in different things to innovate, man. I'm gonna bring in different things to innovate and do what I gotta do to get this show to the top. It's okay. I'm gonna start getting sponsors and all that stuff too. Ford, holla at me. Oh man, it is a pleasure. I hope I didn't keep you because I know I kept you twice. But it is also it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Mark. Whatever you got going on, man, feel free, shout it out, do what you got to do.
All right, yo, YouTube. My YouTube page is not up yet, but it's in the works and it's coming. So by the time this gets big and y'all recognize that I'm the main guy of the show, it's gonna be the Mark Vader. That's gonna be my name. So mostly it may be music reviews or either gaming, who knows, but it's not going to be motorsports necessarily. Not going to be what Tarig is doing. But however, yo, you already know. This I'm taking the show anyway, so it's all right. But Tarig has been a pleasure. We'll, you know, soon, you know, we have a collab that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be on my channel or again on your channel, you gonna want me again. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah.
Alright, man. I'm most definitely looking forward to these collaborations. You know, if we go into the gaming or even the music, I don't know what songs you listen to, but if we have that conversation, it will definitely be a hot debate. I'm waiting on that one. It's a pleasure to have you, man.
I would call it debate. So. Okay, I'm sorry.
This man right here, bro. Alright, have a wonderful day, man. Peace out. Live good. A pleasure having you on the show.
Alright, I appreciate it.
Yes, I was looking at my shit, not you. Alright, peoples, and that was the homie Mark, the go-to guy, the one that didn't flake. It was always a pleasure. And like he said, there's definitely going to be hella collaborations going forth. Just wonderful to see him on the show. Keeping it with Honda, though. Moving on with Max Verstappen, what exactly is his plans now that Honda is pulling out of the game? Shit, in my honest opinion, I don't know. I didn't see nothing pop up. Like, I didn't see nothing pop up on his page and nothing like that on Twitter or anything. So I have no fucking clue exactly where his mind is at. But I'm almost certain that there are going to be plenty of companies. If Red Bull doesn't get another manufacturer, well, they're probably definitely going to. But if Red Bull doesn't get another high performance, not necessarily high performance, but like if Red Bull doesn't get another manufacturer as great as Honda, I believe we're going to see him move. We're going to see Verstappen move to something a little bit more his taste, I should say, to something a little bit more aggressive. And I feel as though, in my honest opinion, he would probably go to Ferrari. Don't know why. That's just what I'm thinking. That was just a quick touch on that. But moving into the IMSA, for those of you that don't know what that is the International Motorsports Association. That kind of seems self-explanatory, doesn't it? Sticking with Honda, though, but, you know, across the globe in the North American side. A new president was announced for Honda performance development over here on the US of A. David Salters is now replacing Ted Klaus, I believe. Now, Ted Klaus had a substantial career with Honda. He's been, you know, I believe the president not the president, but he's been the head of a dozen programs, and he's actually had like a 30 to 35 year or so experience, and actual substantial work with Honda performance development. So I'm gonna just call him HPD. It keeps it simple for me, and now you know what it is. And he's actually showcased and carried HPD into IndyCar, high rankings in the IndyCar, and he's also done plenty of things outside of that as well. But David Salters, his reputation precedes him. So for the most part, everyone believes that he's going to be a good fit as the new president of the HPD. He's a veteran race engineer for one, and he has plenty of experience in Formula One and IndyCar. In Formula One, he worked. He was the head of F1 development for Mercedes, and he was also doing something for Ferrari as well. I'm not sure what it was, but he was also doing something for Ferrari, top two big names in F1, and he was the head of, I believe, whatever organization he was tied to whatever part of the organization he was tied to at that time. So definitely a substantial reputation and a substantial force behind him that can push him forward, those two teams. And as well as on the US of A soil, he has done plenty of stuff in IndyCar. Most notable is the Cosworth Racing program that he worked at for IndyCar. I'm not sure all the details of it. I don't work in IndyCar. I don't know. But he has plenty of different people who will attest to his reputation and make sure that you understand that he is definitely the real deal. And Honda is 1,000% excited for the future, which I don't really understand why they pulled out of F1. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Like Mark said, they've been actually doing this shit for a long time, but I only caught wind of it recently. I haven't been deep diving into Honda, nothing like that. I've been more into all motorsports as a whole, so I haven't really had the time to really deep dive. And but Honda's obviously willing to stay with organizations and keep pushing forward their agendas in those organizations. So most definitely we will be, if you watch Formula One and you love Honda to death, switch on over to IndyCar. It's not the same thing, but I can't say it's the same thing. It's really not. It's completely different aero and all that, and dynamics and shit like that, and different types of racing. So but if you miss Honda and you want to see them in some open wheel cars, feel free to hop over to IndyCar. Most definitely, I'll be watching IndyCar. That's a fact. Sticking with IMSA, the next couple races. The next race actually occurs on October 10th, where I don't remember. I have no fucking clue. But you can catch it on NBC SN. That's the NBC Sports Network. I believe that starts around the AM. It might be the PM, honestly, because it's American. Yeah, it's in America, so it might be PM. I'm almost certain it's the PM now because I feel like it's like 6 or 8 p.m. or something like that. That's the main stage for most American events all the time. This later on in the day when everybody's off for work and people is home eating supper. We don't do that shit at no 7 o'clock in the morning like Formula One does, even though that's only 7 o'clock on the east on our time. So I guess they do it as well in the middle of the day. So all right. Also, Road Atlanta is going to be happening in 2 weeks, or I should say after this race weekend coming up, and there we will see some new debuts. We will see some debuts from AOA Racing. What is that? All Out Racing, sorry. From All Out Racing, AOA. No, it's not All Out. All Out Auto. All Out Auto Racing. You will see 2 debuts. With that team, they are fielding a car. It's a Audi RS3 LMS, and there will be 2 new drivers, Gino Manley and what's the guy's name? Let me look at my notes real quick. No, Gianno Torino. He will also be the other driver. Those 2 will be driving the Audi, and they will, I don't know, see what they can do. The team owner says that, those two drivers are going places and their loyalty to the team is why I'm so excited. And honestly, I'm very excited too. I love when I see new guys coming in and making their debut and showcasing that they actually have skill and talent. It really puts their name in people's mouths, I guess. It really showcase they really have the ability to showcase their skill all together. And from there, it's just about who takes notice. It's about who joins them in the actual fight and who joins them in the actual event. And I'm pretty certain that all that shit is gonna be fun. And I can't wait to actually watch this race. I can't wait to check into the Road Atlanta and figure out where these guys stand and how they actually perform. Now, the French GP is coming up. Not in Formula One, but I'm going to still talk about it a little bit. I'm going to talk about cars a little bit. I'm going to talk about the history of Le Mans. Just real quick. The stuff that I could think of off the top. Well, that I thought of off the top and then wrote down, because I wasn't really going to take a deep dive into the history. I'll save that for an actually dedicated video with, voiceovers. That's what it's called. It's a voiceover, and I'll actually make a dedicated video. So tune into that, or tune in for that. I don't know when that's coming. But it was created in the streets of Le Mans, okay? Named after the river that it ran through, or the river that ran through it, kind of, I guess, or the river that it was near. I'm not sure. This is just stuff that I remember from all the times that I've actually watched the race and actually did any type of research for the race or anything like that. Damn, my bad. Cirque de Sarthe. Circuit de Sarthe. I'm gonna just call it Circuit because I'm not gonna say Cirque de Sarthe. It was named after the river in Le Mans. Now it has It has a deep, rich history, full of innovation and epic stories. And honestly, which is a shame, unfortunate catastrophes. There have been plenty of crazy crashes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of just bad accidents and unforeseen events that have occurred on the track. Me, honestly, I'll talk about my history with Le Mans. The first time I ever even heard of the track was playing Forza on Xbox 360 years ago. That was the first time I ever heard of it, and ever since then I fell in love with it. From the actual layout of the entirety of the track, not just Bugatti circuit, which is what I'm about to dive into, but the actual full stage circuit. I love that back straightaway. That was just with that slight curve. That was by far the best section, because I used to just have long drag races there with people, because we would have actual races throughout the whole thing. But I'd be like, yo, meet me right here at the turn, and then we start up and go, and whoever gets to that turn first wins, and that type of stuff. So that's just my history with it. And then from there, I've actually watched races and actually seen different events take place and take fold. Anyway, now 24 hours of Le Mans is truly a test of dedication. I should say 24 hours of Le Mans is a ultra marathon race that's legitimately 24. It takes up the entirety of the day. It usually has multiple drivers. It's like the epitome of endurance racing, in my personal opinion, and it really tests the fortitude and mental toughness of these drivers, and the will as well, the will to continue, the will to keep pushing the car as well. You know what I'm saying? After a while, you start getting fatigued with driving. You know what I'm saying? You start getting not tired of driving, but you start getting tired of being behind the wheel in general. And with these guys, they're fully focused and fully attentive, and that drains a lot of energy throughout that racing, lap after lap after lap. So testing that will to continue and keep pushing the car and keep pushing is by far one of the most exciting things to watch, especially with with all the different categories that it has running on that track at one period and at one point in time. It's fucking amazing. And of course, the top thing that I've seen ever since I knew what a Ford GT was when I was like 7, the 1966 Le Mans, where Ford beat Ferrari, the reigning champions, and created a monumental, just a paramount journey for American motorsports. That's when we really put America on top for the GT type category, especially with cars like the Ford GT, and now Corvettes and stuff like that is designed that way too. Shit like that. All that stuff came out of that win, that 1966 win. So thought I should just point that out. So chalk one up on a board for American motorsports. Now as the track aged, many people wanted a dedicated section for just testing and prep and stuff like that. But instead what they did was create an entirely different track out of the track that was already established, because setting up and cutting into the entire city is by far an economical blunderbuss. But it doesn't really matter, simply because of the fact that brings in a lot of people, brings in a lot of money and stuff to the area. But for the most part, blocking off the streets and stopping businesses and all that stuff ain't the greatest. Every time you want to test the track out or anything like that, they can't do it year round or nothing. So what they did was they compacted the entirety of the track, and they created different sections out of shit. They used every space they could, even sections of the parking lot. And now we have what is named after Ettore. I'm not trying to say his name, but named after Bugatti himself, the Bugatti circuit, which is where the French GP, MotoGP French GP, is going to take place. And I cannot wait. That's coming in next week, and I will definitely be watching it. So definitely tune in, because I will be bringing you a total recap of the show. Honestly, I will be bringing you an entire recap of everything that's going on. Next is shit. Yeah, so basically they didn't want to impede on the public, and that's why that track was created. And I'm just waiting on the French GP, man. I lost my train of thought thinking about these bikes. But who do I think is gonna win? Honestly, I don't know. This is gonna be a quick little prediction. Who do I think is gonna win the French GP at Bugatti circuit? If I had to be honest with you, probably Vinales. Because Vinales has been at the top every time. Or no, he hasn't been at the top every time. He finished in 9th at the Catalan GP. Oh, that recap is coming next. Don't go nowhere. But I feel like Vinales, if he actually gets a good start and he doesn't get held up like he did in the previous race, he's definitely going to be top 3. I definitely feel like he's going to definitely be in the front for one. And Quartararo, after bouncing back, I feel as though he's definitely going to be in contention for a top spot. But if I had to say it, I think it's going to be a Yamaha type of situation for the actual event. I don't know who is going to be on it, but I feel as though Vinales and probably Rins is gonna be in that contention spot, honestly. Or if not Rins, then Mir. I feel as though those three, or not even Rins. Mir, most likely than not. Vinales and probably Quartararo. That's how I'm going. So Mir first, Vinales second, Quartararo in third. But like I said last week, I told you I'd be going over a complete Catalan GP or Grand Prix Monster de Catalunya GP. I don't feel like saying all that shit, so I'm gonna just say the Catalan GP. That's just what it's called on everything. So I'm about to dive into that, because I did say I was going to bring you a recap, and here it is. I'm bringing you a recap. Fabio Quartararo comes back in awesome fashion. Okay, and of course Suzuki had their first double podium finish in first time since like 2007. That's just the overview. Now we're going to dive into it. Franco Morbidelli gets an outstanding start. Okay, I took wild notes because I remembered everything, because I was so invigorated with this race and seeing Quartararo actually succeed. But Morbidelli had an outstanding start. He had the whole shot, I believe. No, I'm not sure if he had the whole shot, but he had an outstanding start. All right, and he was pushing and pushing. But of course, like always, there's a big mix-up in lap one, and probably turn 1, turn 2 in that area, and guys go down. Okay, Dovizioso out of the race. Johan Zarco out of the race. Okay, right at the beginning, off of the opening lap, it was Yamaha 1, 2, and 3. Took up all 3 positions. Okay, and it went that way for a long fucking time until Rossi crashed out in lap 16. Where did he crash out though? In that same fucking drama area at the beginning of the damn race, in that lap 1, in the turn 1, turn 2 area. He crashed out, slid out. That was a bad sight to see. I'm pretty sure he's okay, and he'll be able to compete in the French GP. So shit. But I mean, from my predictions, I feel like though he's probably going to finish 4th. He's probably going to finish 4th. That's just the way I see it. He hasn't been able to close out races. He hasn't been able to do that. He's definitely puts up the pace at the beginning, but he's not able to close out races right now, and it's sad to see, but it's a thing. Next, now we all know, well, not we all know, but I know Suzuki's late race pace, by far super outstanding. You know, it came in handy beautifully for the Suzuki boys. Johan Mir, Alex Rins, the 2 Suzuki boys. Where am I? Right, they had crazy gains in time on Quartararo because their pace was that much better. I mean, these 2 guys were performing like I don't want to say never seen before, but they were performing like crazy and actually executing and showcasing that they can catch up to whoever they want to. It don't matter. And I'm all here for. I mean, Quartararo's lead was disappearing by like a half a second every lap, and probably even more than that. For for every lap. You know what I'm saying? And they was about to catch his ass. They was about to catch. Boy, if there was one more lap, Fabio, you wasn't gonna get that victory. You wasn't. Mur would have been on your behind, and he would have had that. He would have had that overtake. It would have definitely been way more of a battle than it was. Obviously, it was still a fantastic battle, but it would have been way more of a battle than it was. He would have actually had to really fend off. Oh no, he did. He did have to fend off. So even then, matter of shit, if you had a couple more turns, Fabio, you wasn't gonna get in that win. You wasn't gonna get that win. But of course, Quartararo kept his composure, and he actually held off and did everything he needed to pull away with that victory, which is definitely well deserved and not a long time coming, but it's been a minute. Now he's now I think back as he's first for the championship points, Quartararo. Now Johan Mir is now second overall with this win. He's a good bit of points somewhere. But the real story between the Suzuki boys is Alex Rins pulling out his what did he do? He overtook 10 places. He overtook 10 places. So started off in 13th, started off in 12th, came back to pull off with 13th, yeah. Started off at 13th, came back to pull off with a third. That's pretty fucking remarkable to do all that. Then obviously people crashed out, but to do all that within the race, props to him. So I definitely feel like Alex Rins is going to be at the top for the French GP. Obviously now going into Quartararo's home in France, he's going to want to put on a show for his peoples. I don't think any fans are going to be admissible, but he's definitely going to be trying to put on a show. So it's going to be a fantastic battle. I can't wait. Now Suzuki, of course, was celebrating in the paddock when they got the double podium. There's actually like a clip of them actually like celebrating the shit. So it's fucking remarkable. It was dope. And Vinales came in ninth after the first lap mix-up. He had to, keep fighting, but guys weren't giving no leeway, and he did what he could, but he finished off with ninth. But top 7, Fabio Quartararo, 1, Johan Mir, 2, Alex Rins, 3rd, Morbidelli in 4th. He actually had the lead at the beginning, but that got taken away like that, or not like that, but that got taken away fairly quick, around halfway through the race or something like that. Jack Miller in 5th, Francesco Bagnaia, my guy, my dude, my boy. I'll be looking at him for, outstanding performances. Actually, there's some news on him. I believe he just signed with Ducati. Francesco Bagnaia I believe just signed with Ducati, if not earlier on today, but earlier on this week or something, or in the latter part of last week. I'm pretty sure he just signed with Ducati. So, I mean, I might dive into that more, but I feel as though that covers everything for the next season. So, cannot wait to see that, because Ducati has those very highly powerful bikes on the straights, and I feel as though Francesco is going to be able to use that to his advantage. And 7th place in the Catalan GP was Takumi Nakagami. I have nothing to say about him. That's really all I could say. I really don't have nothing to say about him. Next, we're going to jump into the NHRA. That's the National Hard Rod Association. For those of you that don't know, that's just drag racing. I just want to talk about the qualifying. Tony Schumacher, Top Fuel. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they probably might have had the race already, but I only care about the qualifying simply because of the fact that we're just going to take a quick look into it. Okay? Schumacher was all, ready to go. Lights were good. But, weather conditions at the track that they were at in, I believe, St. Louis, was limiting. Okay, not only to him, but to everyone at the event. You can't drag race on a wet track. That should need to be dry. So, or at least sort of dry, And so, the NHRA safety team, I'm going to just call them safety team because I'm not going to say safety safari. Their safety team shut down cars for a few hours and then just spent most of the time just drying out the track and making sure that things were good for the actual passes and the actual qualifying runs. Now, as soon as they were able to go, Schumacher, without missing a beat, secured the top qualifying spot hands down and showed all these other teams that they need to bring their A game, or that they needed to bring their A game. I don't know if the race actually happened yet. I didn't look into that. But if it did, definitely listening next week. I'll be talking about all that shit. Not only Top Fuel, but all the events that happen, funny car, pro stock, all that stuff. And he actually had a wonderful accomplishment. Schumacher had a wonderful accomplishment. Sealed his top qualifying spot by having a 3.680 second run at 332.92 miles per hour. You know how fast that is, man? I probably shit myself going that damn. I ain't never drive. The fastest I went probably 150, 157, 167 around there. But mainly because I don't have the type of cars that these guys drive is insane. But that was the 332.92 miles per hour was a new World Ride Technology racetrack speed record. And like I said, more updates coming next week on the actual race, as well as all the other events. And Schumacher as well. He's Tony Schumacher is one of my favorite next to John Force. So people that I'd love to see. And also someone in motorcycle racing. I don't know if he's still doing it now, but it's someone that I actually saw. The person that actually got me into motorcycle drag racing was not only whoever the fuck Spider-Man was, but Ricky Gadlis. Checking in him, African-American rider. Normally, I think he rides a Kawasaki. I don't know. His colors is Kawasaki green, so I'm just assuming. Anyway. More things I want to touch on is everything is going electric. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but definitely check into it. There's a new Extreme series that's coming of just like Basically, it's like, you know, the vehicles that be going in the sand dune races and all that stuff, and the off road and stuff, that type of. That's now electric too. They're doing testing on those electric vehicles. Now I've seen the video. In my personal opinion, that shit looks slow. I think they gotta do something else with the power output, or however it's done, or give it a different cap and top speed and, you know, whatever in the kilowatts. So I don't know electric, you know, jive and torque, but it looks slow as shit. I don't know if they slowed down the video or what, but it just looks slow as shit. A big name, Valtteri. Obviously, there's an actual article about this, but I didn't actually get it from the article. I think I got this from Twitter. I got it from Twitter, and I wanted to check into the article, but I was running out of time, so I wanted to make sure that I could come back here and actually do the actual video, and get this out, because, you know, it does come out on Tuesday. But something like that is Valtteri stepping in to do that type of stuff, and I'm sure they had not only Valtteri, but I just think that's the biggest name that's willing to actually put their name out there. But I'm sure they've had top, you know, off road and drivers, you know, take a hold of that shit and actually do what's necessary to test it and to give them you know, good feedback on what they should improve on. And from the looks of the video, speed, you know. But aside from that, there's Moto E. Granted, that's only like 6 or 7 events, and it just started last year. But it's Moto E. You know what I'm saying? It's E. It's electric. And I'm definitely feel like it is going to be way more prominent in the coming years. Rally electric. I talked about that in one of my previous episodes as well. Definitely check into that if you don't know. You know, they hosted their first rally, electric rallycross, Ken Block racing and that shit. He even did testing in one of the cars. He was testing and actually practicing with a fully electric Ford, I believe, or Ford body style, whatever, something like that. I think, but he was definitely testing in a full electric rally car, and I don't know what to say to that. I kind of just want to check it out and see what's going on with that. Next, of course, we have Formula E. That's way more prominent, obviously. Formula E is probably the largest electric event going on. So, you know, I expect a lot of people to know what that is. And I have talked about Formula E altogether before. Formula E is definitely a standout for racing in general. And everyone knows about the prowess. Now, everything moving in that direction, how on earth does it affect motorsports in a whole? Or how on earth does it affect everything related to automobiles? And I feel as though, you know, racing is always going to be there. Racing is always going to be entertaining. There's always going to be those people who use petrol, who use gas, who use oil. But with this new set, I feel it's going to pull away from the people who use the petrol and all that stuff in the actual motorsports events, because they're now using like hybrid engines and all that stuff. Obviously, these engines are just now being introduced, so there's way more hiccups, and these shits are complicated to understand for, you know, regular engineers and stuff like that. Unless you're the actual person who built the damn thing, most people don't know, ass from the elbow. I don't know if that's the same, but whatever. But with everything moving in that direction, you know, cars nowadays are being electric. Obviously, the biggest name out of that is Tesla, or there's a bunch. There's the Ford, the Mach-E, the Mustang, which ain't really a Mustang, and now they're making the electric Ford F-150. I would love that shit. I don't know where I charge it at, but I would love that shit. And they're also doing the Ford, is my favorite company altogether. So, Ford Motor Company, if you listening or anything of that nature, holla. I don't know. But it actually was one of the first companies to go out there and actually mass produce a hybrid vehicle. One of the Ford Escapes, I think 2009 or some shit, had a hybrid engine in it. I think it was Toyota at the time But then Toyota with the Prius, and then Ford or whatever, and they actually implemented one of the first systems that allow for a car to not exclusively be petrol, basically, and not exclusively be gas. I say petrol as if I'm from fucking Britain or some shit, but not exclusively be gas, basically. So it doesn't run exclusively on conventional engine. There's also some type of electric battery powered system working in there as well. Honestly, I love the sound of a roaring V8. I love the sound of muffling noise. I love the echo, and I love the bangs that you hear listening to a car run down track. And I love that fade that you hear as well. But electric is taking over, and I'm here for it, man. Time to save the world, obviously, and I'm here for it. I'm game for electric. I obviously don't know how to work it and can't diagnose any problems that I would have if I were to do electric stuff. So I don't know. It'll take a different skill, or not a different skill, but it'll take definitely a whole lot of practice and testing and all that stuff to actually for drivers to actually convert to that system. So they'll actually be able to help their team out in terms of diagnostics or anything like that. So when those guys are able to fully grasp the electric system that they drive, then and only then will Formula E and anything electric actually be, prominent. But until then, or until it's forced upon them, it'll be petrol, gas, conventional shit, or now it'll be hybrid stuff that's being used. Now, in conclusion, I feel as though with Mark being on the show, I guess I should talk about why on earth I actually made the show how it is. Now, I apologize for earlier because there were some technical difficulties, and I did have to resort to going away from my actual microphone and everything like that. But why I created this show in the first place? I created the show simply because of the fact that I just wanted to talk about classic cars. That's how the show originally started. If you go back to the early episodes on the show, this was originally Let's Talk Cars, where I would talk classics, just give you specs and stuff like that. It was basically just a mini podcast or a micro podcast or whatever it's called that was showcasing or just talking about the specs and basically any classic car that I've ever been behind the wheel of or I've ever been in. Just talking about those specs because I had those types of conversations with the people that were driving them and or the people that owned them or whatever. I don't own classic cars. I don't have that type of money. Them shits is classic cars. They cost not hundreds of thousands, but they cost like $50,000, $60,000, and I don't have that to just spend. But if I did, I most definitely would, and I would keep driving them. That 70 Plymouth Roadrunner, that's my baby. That's why I created this show in the first place. As I, spent time continuing to do those types of episodes, I found myself running out of material because all that stuff was based off of stuff that I've driven, and it was based off of stuff that I've actually spent time with, and I, didn't necessarily have a schedule set to where I could just go and spend time with cars and actually be behind the wheel and listen to them and actually see how the engine work and actually listen to it run and sit there and watch it run or take it on the highway, stuff like that. I didn't have that type of schedule. I don't have that type of luxury. I don't have the type of money. So I found myself running out of content, and I took a nice deep hiatus trying to figure out how I could continue showcasing motorsports, or how I can continue showcasing cars. And I figured, hey, fuck it, why not bring it into the realm of something that I watch consistently, of something that I damn near tune into every weekend when the seasons are there. And I figured, hey, with this stuff going on, people and I mean there was a lot of inspirational posts, with Siri and all that stuff listening to you. There were a lot of inspirational posts that popped up talking about just do it. talking about you won't know, don't knock it till you try it. You won't know unless you actually do it. So I figured this would be the perfect time to actually sit and do what and create the show and actually do it the way that I'm doing it now. And originally there wasn't a video aspect. Honestly, I was never going to create a video aspect, but I figured that I wanted to actually, I had this YouTube channel for a while, and I wanted to, I started it off as just a conversation type shit, giving advice of stuff that I learned, or giving some type of inspirational shit that I could provide. I'm usually good at that. I'm pretty good at. I'm a conversationalist. I like having conversations. I mean, obviously that with Mark was a little bit more like an interview. This is my first time actually bringing anybody on the show and actually conversing with somebody outside, like trying to be semi-professional. With it, and so excuse me if I wasn't the greatest conversationalist in that one, but obviously as I get better at this, as I get more comfortable, and as I hopefully bring more people to the show, you'll start seeing things going a little bit better and a little bit more smooth and more constant. And once I figure out my technical shit as well, I actually have stuff charged and all that stuff, it will definitely continue to run even smoother. And of course, last but not least, I guess why I introduced the video version. I introduced the video version simply because I wanted a visual with the show. This was always a thing of mine. I've done podcasts with my people, with friends before, and we've done podcast episodes, and we created actual videos. So. And that was usually way more receptive than just the audio version. Obviously, there's still an audio version. Definitely feel free to check into that. But that was just the way that it was going. Hey, babe, how you doing? I'm wrapping up, so just give me a second. That's about it for the show, though. I just wanted to finish off with why I created the show. I created it simply because I wanted to inspire other people to talk about cars, and mainly people of my ethnicity, to talk about cars and to talk motorsports altogether. That's just the way that I felt about the show. Obviously, this video version I never thought I would actually do, but now I feel like I need to do it, and I feel like I need to keep pursuing it, because this is what's kind of getting me a little bit more notice now across the lines of social media, where it's a colored. Yeah, I'm gonna just stick with. I'm a black person talking motorsports. Okay, a black man talking motorsports. Some people like, hey, damn, I gotta support it. I ain't never seen that, and honestly, I haven't either. So that's also a reason that I've been inspired to do it. That was the reason I started racing in general, simply because of the fact that I didn't see anyone like me doing that type of stuff, and I wanted to be. I don't want to say the first, but I wanted to be more of a role model for people coming up, or anyone coming up, to have someone to look up to that's actually like them. When you think about movies and stuff like that, you want to see representation. So I wanted to hopefully be that representation and let y'all know that you can talk motorsports. It's not just these European white people that can talk motorsports. Although y'all welcome to chat with me. If you want to chat with me, hit me up on my social medias. Hit me up on Twitter at TheBigTicket07. We can have all the conversations you want there. Or I don't know, maybe you might be able to come on the show. Shit. But that's it for me. If you enjoyed the show, or if you want to listen to the audio version, definitely head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Links will be in the description. If you want to watch the YouTube version, the video version, head over to youtube.com/Tarig Waldron. That's TARIGWALDRON, or simply search Let's Talk Motorsports in the search bar. But links will be in the description for this video as well. So definitely, just go over to the YouTube version. You'll find all the links to everything. That's all I really have to say for the show. Have a wonderful day. Peace out. And if you enjoyed, please rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, whatever you choose to listen to. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Way more content to come. Ow.